We all realize how difficult this journey is going to be when we first start it, and remembering what you're doing it for. At the end of the road, you're going to be taking care of people, hopefully saving lives. It's amazing to finally be at this moment, and you look back at everything you've put into this.
I do fall in with that group of people who, as a kid, had always kind of thought about being a doctor. I was a bit of a tomboy as a kid, and I was always like scraping myself up, just figuring out how the body heals. And I had a great relationship with my pediatrician and wanting to be that person for someone else.
In high school, I was fortunate enough to be able to do like a pipeline program over the summer. They took us to a sim lab. We learned how to intubate. Really thought I wanted to be a psychiatrist. I ended up shadowing a child psychiatrist and quickly learned that I did not want to be a psychiatrist. So, but I still wanted to be a doctor.
After I graduated from college, I started working as a scribe in the emergency department, and pretty quickly I was like, oh cool, I think this is what I want to do with my life. Man, this means I gotta go to medical school.
And I was asked what I wanted to do when I grew up. I don't know, but I don't want to be a doctor and I don't want to be a lawyer. For a long time I wanted to be like a teacher coach. I went up to Maine to play Division III football. Found myself volunteering at a free clinic, trying to help these people get the things they need. It all kind of started to fall into place.
When you have a dad who's a doctor, instead of it being the common trope of the parents pushing the kid to go to medicine to be the doctor of their family, it was kind of the flip side of he's a psychiatrist, and he actually sees a lot of doctors who are really unhappy in their jobs. He was like, there's so many sacrifices that you make along the way, but if you love it, it's the most fulfilling position I could have ever taken.
My mom was a nurse, so growing up I always saw her in her scrubs, and I would even help her iron them. And so originally I'm from the Bronx, New York. There were very few black physicians, and a lot of people within our community don't trust physicians in general or the healthcare system. So being someone that people can look to and trust.
My grandmother was an immigrant from Mexico City, and they actually immigrated to St. Louis because my great-grandfather was a pathologist at SLU Medicine. I always had been really passionate about sexual medicine, and I really felt like there wasn't a role for people who were concerned with like the preservation of sexual function, especially in women. My peers and mentors at SLU made me feel like what I had to say mattered. That was new for me, and I think I, for a long time, had not really felt confident that what I had to say mattered.
Studied economics, worked as a consultant in Washington, D.C. for a little bit.
I went to business school, I worked in corporate America. I really wanted to feel like I was doing something more.
Do I want to be a doctor? Maybe. I still need to figure a lot about who I am. Toured all over the country for colleges, and I actually applied to be a med scholar at SLU when I was 18. 2 years later, I applied to med school, 20-year-old me, going into a medical school interview. Like, wow, my answers were probably so immature.
My family's from Mexico. I mean, we don't really have doctors in the family. I remember walking into the auditorium of 180 of us. Oh my gosh, this is a lot. I don't know if I can do this. Med school, and then you throw in a pandemic, really pushed me to be a lot more comfortable with unknown. I think that really strengthened me in a lot of ways that I wasn't expecting.
I went to UCLA for undergrad. We all kind of romanticize med school. I can't wait to be a medical student. First year of med school, when you really have to make that transition from the pace of learning that you're used to. I didn't do the best on my exam, as well as my new position of being a class president. And then I was also going through a personal issue where my grandmother passed away. Oh, this isn't gonna be easy. My family has always been a huge part of my support system.
I actually grew up in the St. Louis area, so coming to SLU was coming home for me. Although my family actually moved out of the country my first year, like within the first few weeks of me coming here. So we're like, oh, okay. I actually haven't seen my parents in about 3 years. As a child of immigrants, they kind of wish that they physically could be here for me, but I think it's also something that makes them feel really proud to see how I've been able to make it. I know my parents will be streaming in on match day, so.
Every medical student, this is the day that they're waiting for.
There's pre-match day and post-match day, and that's how my entire life is divided.
Match day is a critical day. You learn about what the rest of your life is going to look like as a physician.
Students find out where they're going to be spending their residency. And this is the culmination of nearly 4 years of medical education.
There's a particular specialty that you want to learn more about and focus the rest of your career about.
The future of the family is hinging on whatever is in that envelope.
There's also some bittersweet moments where they realize they're moving away from some of their friends, their loved ones. It becomes real that day.
For me, it'll be 6 years because I'm couples matching and his residency is 6.
This is where I'm going to take my fiance and my dog, part of my family, for the next 5 years of my life.
I'm getting married in April, so I'll be with my husband, and I'll end up being the first doctor of my family. They're always saying like, oh, we're so proud of you. But with that, also comes a lot of responsibility.
Coming home from my rotations 3rd year, I was like, could I do this and be happy the rest of my life? Or will I end up in my dad's chair on the patient side talking to him about how I should have chose something different? Maybe like 6 months ago, I was on a neurology rotation and he called me as kind of a side consult for a patient he had because he trusted my opinion so much. So having my dad say, you know, it's gonna be hard, but I know you can do it, means the world.
No words. There's really no words that can describe when you have put more years beyond medical school, visualizing yourself having this job and just hoping that that will one day be you.
It's the first time where all members of my immediate family are going to be in St. Louis together. They've really been with me through it all, so it's kind of a day of celebration for my entire family, and hopefully cry tears of joy and not sadness.
So everyone gets the letters. Try to hold out. Okay, all right, everybody. We're gonna count it down. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Congratulations.
It's a moment of pride, I think, for me and for my family because, you know, they both were born in the States. They came here with little to nothing, but they've really made the most of their time here. They value education above all else. It's the one thing no one can take from you. I'm not even sure how to put words to it, but we're just appreciative, thankful, glad that we get this opportunity to really celebrate everything that we've really gone through together.